Hi, Tibered Embassy once again, and today I'll be talking about security default and conditional access. Security default, as the name implies, is the default security measure that is provided in your Microsoft Entra ID the moment you have an account. Now, the security defaults make it easier to help protect your organization from identity related attacks like password spray, replay, and phishing common in today's environment. Then we also have what we call the conditional access. Conditional access is a much more advanced form of security measure that gives you a fine grained way to protect your resources and also protect your account. Now, for the security default, you do not need a license to actually access the Microsoft security default from Microsoft Entra, but you need to have a license which is at least the P1 or P2 license to be able to access the conditional access. From the P1 license and above, the Microsoft Entra P1 license and above, you can actually use the conditional access. So today I'll be showing you how you can upgrade to the conditional access if you already have the security default enabled in your system. Then I'll also show you how to enforce the conditional access to affect sign-in policies of a particular user I'll be using as my test user. So let's get right into it. First thing first, I'm going to be showing you how you can access the Entra ID Admin Center. There are two ways by which I'll be showing you how you can access it. First, you can sign into your office.com, which you all know. I showed this in our first video where I was trying to create a user using the Microsoft 365 admin portal. You sign into your office.com, you click on admin, give it some time to get to pop up. As soon as it pops up, you're going to go to the bars on the left, click on show all, scroll down, then click on identity. The moment you click on identity, it takes you directly to where how you can access your Microsoft Entra admin center. Now, Microsoft Entra Admin Center. The next way you can access this is by simply coming to your browser and typing in cmd.ms. cmd.ms takes you to where we have the Microsoft Cloud command line, and you just click on the Microsoft Entra, which is the first command here, and it takes you exactly to where you can access your Microsoft Entra. Now, we created a user in our first video, which is our test one user one, and that user was being assigned a certain license. I want us to go in and check out our user so that I can show you the access our user has. But before we do that, let me quickly show you how to enable security defaults or disable security defaults and advance to conditional access depending on your organization's license and what you intend to use. Now, for this my account, I've already enabled the conditional access. So I'll be opening a tenant that has security default in use and does not yet enable conditional access to show you what I want to show you. So we go into this account now. We already entered the Entra Admin Center. I've showed you how you can access here. We come to the global search bar here and type tenant. We'll see the tenant properties. Click on tenant properties. Scroll down. You're going to see your security default. Click on manage security default. You click on manage security default. You see it is enabled here. Now, if I intend to disable it, I'll click on the drop down, click on disable, which is not recommended. Then they will ask you for the reason for disabling. We have the reasons can be too many multi-factor sign-in requests, or we have one of the reasons you can look at here is my organization is planning to use conditional access. So the security defaults and the conditional access are mutually exclusive. What that means is that you cannot have the two of them working in the same organizational platform. It has to be one. It's either you're working with the security default or you're working with the conditional access. So if I intend to upgrade to the conditional access, I'll just click on this and click on save. Now it says you do not have an Azure AD P1 or P2 license to start using conditional access. You can activate the free trial to test our premium feature, and I click here to learn. So for this account, I do not have the P1 or P2 license assigned to it, so I can't actually activate the conditional access. But for the other accounts that I'll be using to show you, I actually have that enabled. So if I go to my Entra portal here and I search for tenants, this is an account that already has conditional access being enabled. I scroll down and I come to what you see here is manage conditional access. You are not seeing manage security defaults the same way you saw in the other tenants. So I think that is settled. I've showed you how you can access your Entra portal, and I've also showed you how you can activate your conditional access if you have the Entra P1 license or Entra P2 license. The next thing I'm going to be showing you is how we can regulate sign-in for a particular user using the conditional access, for a particular user using conditional access. And the user I'll be using is my test user that I created on the first video, my test one user, and I assigned the license to him. So let's quickly check out our user, and let me show you what I did for our user. This is my test one user one, and then I assigned a user administrator role to this user, and I also give him a license. Yes, this is my test one user, and the role I assigned to him was the user administrator role. So now I'll be using this my test one user to sign into my admin portal. I want you to note that you can actually sign into the admin portal of a particular account only if you have admin access. For this my user, he has the user admin role, which makes it easy for him to sign into the admin portal. If you create a user without assigning an administrative role to the user will not be able to access the admin portal. So let me quickly open the incognito window and sign into this user's account. Office.com, click on sign in. Then we are going to quickly go to where we can input test one at basiltech.com, password. Then we click sign in. Yes, this signed in. Yes. We've been able to sign into our test one user one account. Next, I want to access the admin portal for this user because he has the user administrative role already being assigned to him. If I click on admin, it will take me directly to where I can see the admin portal. Then if I come to applications, and what I want to do from my conditional access is to prevent this user from being able to access this admin portal and also being able to access forms, which is one of the applications that comes with your Microsoft 365 subscription. So I'm looking for where I can see forms. If I click on forms here, I want to show you that the user can actually access these places before I enforce the policy, and you see that he cannot access it. You see that this is test one user one, test one at basiltech.com, and he has been able to sign into the admin portal. This is the Microsoft forms, and then this user has, okay, let me sign in quickly. Click on sign in, and should be able to sign in quickly. Yes, it's already signed in. So yes, we've been able to sign in. We got it. Let's just click on registration. I just want to show you where you can see that this user has been signed in. Yes, he has been signed in. Test one user one, test one at basiltech.com has been signed into the Microsoft form. He has also been signed into the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So next, I'm going to go and create a conditional access policy that will prevent him from being able to access those resources. Let's get into it. First thing first, for you to access your conditional access you can access it by either coming to the global search here and typing conditional access. Type conditional access, you click on Microsoft Entra Conditional Access. Then you click on create a new policy. This is one way you can get here. The next way you can get here is just by scrolling down to the left pane here. You see conditional access, click on conditional access, and it takes you directly to where you can still create a new policy. So I'm going to be creating a new policy. My policy name will be CAP, conditional access sign-in frequency. I want to stop him from being able to sign into a particular application. I'll click on user to select the people that I want it to affect. Note, it's advisable to apply a policy to a group and not a user. So if you intend for a particular group of people to be affected by a policy, you can just gather them, include them in a security group, and apply the policy to that security group. Next, I'll click on users on groups. Automatically, it pops up for me to select my user, search for tests. Then I'll have my test one user one. I click on my test one user one. I click on select. This is my test one user one. That this is the person that this policy will be affecting. Then I go to, I'm done with this, and now go to my. Now, before I go to the next thing, you can decide to exclude a particular user from being affected by a policy. How you can do this is if you've set up a policy that affects all users, you can click on exclude here and exclude a particular user from being affected by that policy, even though it was meant to affect everybody. The next thing I can do is I'm going to work on my target resources. I'll go to select resources. I'm going to go to select. What I want him to not be able to access is the office portal. So I'll go to the, let me check, Microsoft 365 admin portals, then the forms, Microsoft forms, and I click on select. Now those are the two resources I do not want this user to have access to using conditional access. Then I'm going to go to my grant. Then under my grant, I'm going to click, you can decide to grant access by requiring for multi-factor authentication strength, whatever your case may be. But for this, I want to block access. So I'll click on block access, click on select. Then I'll go to where we have enable policy. Under report only, you can just click on this to get to see what will happen if the policy is being affected. But if the policy is being affected, but the policy will not be affected, you can click on to immediately enforce the policy. You can click on off for the policy to be created but not yet enforced, and enforce it as when you require. But I want to enforce my policy immediately. Under report only, you just get to go to the logs to see what will happen if this policy is being created. I'll click on create. Now when I click on create, I'll go to my policy has successfully been created. The next thing you have to note is that my policy has been created, and if I refresh here, there are two policies. There was a policy created already, and I want to show you where my policy is. This is my policy, the cap sign-in frequency policy that has also been created. Now, before now, I was able to sign into this particular user's admin center. Now that the policy has been enforced, let me refresh this to make sure the policy takes effect. I'll try to sign into that user's admin center again and also try to access forms. So let's go to office.com, and then to click on sign in. Please do not fail to like, to react, to comment on the video, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel as I will bring you content regularly. Test one at basiltech.com. In the password. Say sign in, yes. Okay, we are back again. We're going to be checking out if this user can actually access the admin portal, even though he has the user admin role assigned to him. So I'll click on admin. I had previously checked if my policy had been, let me refresh, be sure my policy has taken effect. Okay. Now, this is what is what I'm getting. Your sign-in was successful, but you don't have permission to access this resource. This is what you will most likely get when conditional access has been applied to prevent a user from accessing a particular resource. Now, let me see how I can be able to access, if I can be able to access the application that has to do with forms. Remember, I had also included forms and said forms should not be able to access forms. If I click on forms, it's loading, take a while. I click on forms, loading. While that is loading, now it said your signing was successful, but you don't have permission to access this resource. So I basically just wanted to show you how the conditional access can be used to prevent access to a particular resource, and how you can enable the conditional access if you have the Entra P1 license or the Entra P2 license, as the case may be. But if you do not have that, what you will have by default is a security default where you can use to enforce the multi-factor authentication and use it to secure access to your resources in your particular account. So thank you very much for coming in to today's video, and please do not fail to like, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate your feedback, and it's good to have you. Thank you. Bye.